Good morning. How is everybody today? My name is Mark Weiner. I work for Sherwin-Williams. Welcome to Colormix 2018, where you're going to be taken on a journey of amazing trends, colors all over the world. Thank you for coming out. I'm going to introduce Heather Bourgeois. She's going to put on the presentation.
Hi, everybody. So welcome to Colormix Forecast 2018. From vivid blue and digital green to high-def yellow and rusty auburn, the Sherwin-Williams 2018 Colormix Color Forecast exhibits 3 unique color palettes that draw from emerging global trends. The collection predicts the colors that will drive conversation and inspiration for the coming year, offering new perspectives on societal influences and their impact on color and design trends. So our designers often ask, where does the inspiration for color mix come from?
So it's deep winter in Cleveland, right? Kind of a gray day, but we're in this fantastic space. We've got amazing light, and it's really an inspired environment for us to do our work. Today is really a fusion. Looking at key colors that are out there and trends that we see in fashion and combining them in an interesting and relevant way for interiors. We like to reference our team as the special sauce. It's the team that we've pulled with an enormous amount of experience. And those influences are coming together with different disciplines to put a really well-rounded color palette together.
And a metallic. South American or Latin American.
We look at a global influence where we start out, we kind of pie in the sky and really looking at what's going on. We talk about everything from, like you said, politics to the runways, and there's so many different things going on. And then having some experts in all these different fields, it's great to hear people chime in and say, you know, I'm seeing this being really important, so that we can envelop that into the palettes as we go along and really make sure that it resonates.
We're seeing a lot of warm colors this year. We're seeing a lot of reds, which we always see pretty much in the palette every single year. A lot of green focus, and there are a lot of warm shade greens. We've got different segments now, and the segments are really going to add something to the overall forecast, I think, when we're finished.
There's no written rules to do this, and what's cool is that we're all professionals and we know that we have a job to do, and so we're here to curate color, do it in a great, beautiful way, and hopefully produce something that people love.
So this image is from cartoonist Hugh MacLeod, who came up with a brilliant way to express a concept that's not often easy to grasp. The image makes a clear point that knowledge alone is not useful unless we can make connections between what we know. Lots of great writers, artists, and scientists have talked about the importance of collecting ideas and bits of knowledge from the world around us and making the connections between those dots to fuel creative thinking and new ideas. So when we talk about color trends, we look at information in a similar way, and we try to connect the dots on macro ideas and experience and link them to color. So Colormix Forecast 2018 will focus on 3 collections: sincerity, connectivity, and unity. Each theme represents unique ideas. However, the palettes link together with common threads that unite into one connected collection, which becomes our blueprint for color in 2018 and beyond. So let's begin. Less is more as we're decluttering, moving more possessions into the cloud. Silence is no longer empty, but instead rare and rich with possibility. Our notions of what's authentic are more complicated. We're celebrating the unfiltered, yet captivated by the artfully processed. Blending in is the new standing out. Flaws are treasured. The hushed tones of this score play out in sand, complex grays, and hazy botanicals. So the Colormix Forecast 2018 will explore specific influences and drivers for each color story. The key insights are the guiding force providing exploration of where color is moving. The influences and drivers can be figurative as well as literal. They can be ideas, thoughts, art and culture, events, fashion, and behaviors. And the results are color palettes that tell a story, evoke an emotion, and can be practically applied to product design, interior design, and architecture. The stories and colors we present today can be used singularly or layered within each palette. So in everyday life, sources of visual and audio stimulation are omnipresent. The mind is besieged by a constant flow of random information, and the brain has to react to notifications, pop-ups, and other noise. Some see this stream of sound as reassuring and others as invasive. Either way, it gives rise to a craving for soothing silence. There's a custom home builder, Ezra Homes, which published techless living rooms as a key trend for 2017 and beyond. Since 2017, there are several sources forecasting this trend, including House and Elle Decor. This means no TV, no video games, and no laptops in the living room. The spaces are designed to bond the family together and decrease the diversions in good, healthy family time. Another added change would be the introduction of a reading space in the living area with its own space and lighting facilities in an attempt to increase the reading habits of younger generations. In workspace design, the idea of muted nooks in felt and other plush fibers absorb sound to create a feeling of privacy in furniture and lighting. And for a greater sense of quiet, screens and dividers become an important emerging product. Then we look at white noise and audio pollution, which throws the senses into disarray, making it harder to concentrate. Without seeking absolute silence, experiments show that the total absence of sound can only be withstood for a few minutes. I don't think those people have children. We may find ourselves in future enjoying a form of soothing silence, i.e. white noise. Alongside sleep, silence, and tranquility are being sought out by stressed, overloaded consumers. Hotel brands are responding with soundproofing technologies and design features that reduce noise pollution and the stress that it caused guests. At the Crowne Plaza, headboards double as cocooning sound buffers, while at Hyatt, guests are provided with white noise machines to tune out exterior noise and encourage peaceful sleep. There are noise-reducing carpets awaiting the guests at the Beverly Hills Hotel, along with buffering door seals and television volume controls that are set to a respectively low volume in order to not disturb neighboring guests. My favorite. Swiss Hotel Zurich recently collaborated with Wallpaper to create the Vitality Room, a guest room optimized for wellness. It incorporates the circadian light feature, which activates in the aid of the release of serotonin, which has relaxing and meditative effects and is an antidote to jet lag. Now, meditation has entered everyday life. Apps like Headspace feature special graphics and guided meditations to help users empty their minds in under 10 minutes. Retreat centers and noise detox destinations are popular ways of escaping from city life. In some places, guests take their meals in meditative silence. Apple will soon join the mindfulness space with Breathe, an app focused on deep breathing exercises that'll be available with iOS 3. So for any of you who wear Apple Watch. Now, as digital noise encroaches, the appeal and benefits of silence are being rediscovered. A Duke University study found that 2 hours of silence a day incited significant cell development in the hippocampus, the brain region related to the formation of memory. So in order to capitalize on these benefits, a range of silence-focused spas and treatments are emerging. Thermla Hotel in Austria offers the world's first entirely silent spa with an interior inspired by church architecture, comprising a sauna area, movement room, spa suites, and a steam bath. The only noise allowed is the gentle lapping of water. Wellness monasteries are also an emerging area. The Eremito Hotel in Umbria, Italy, is known as one of the first digital detox hotels and is housed within an ancient ruin. Rooms are built within the traditional cells used by monks who would use the small and simple space for meditation and prayer. They consist only of a bed, shower, toilet, and desk, no phone, TV, or Wi-Fi. And my true favorite, even salons are introducing silent areas and silent chairs for those who don't fancy chatting the entire way through their haircut and hate the pressure to do so. So craft and artisanal work are celebrated in the newly embraced imperfection of tableware designs. Slightly asymmetric, purposely unrefined plates and servingware feature uneven rims and glazes that evoke handiwork, even though industrially produced. And then for years, realtors have been using nuanced words such as rustic, humble, and time capsule to sell homes that would otherwise be considered ugly. But today, Realtor.com reports that a growing number of U.S. listings are advertising ugly homes, along with descriptors such as dirty and worst in the neighborhood. This new trend is about young buyers wanting truth in their purchases. And if you are on Instagram, @uglymelbournehouses highlights ugly and bizarre homes in the Melbourne metro area. It's a feed filled with weird McMansions, dilapidated duplexes, and unpleasing 70s architecture. In its early days, communication on social media inspired a lot of playing around and thinking and tinkering, but the advent of ultra-professional approaches has made fooling around obsolete. Knowing how marketing and communication work, people become more aware that the reality they are presented with has been tampered with. So fed up with fakery, many are searching for a greater authenticity, and the aesthetic and narrative behind no filter takes a highly aspirational quality. Followers advocate a return to the natural, making images and communications as natural as possible. No longer are failures and shortcomings to be concealed. Now, before no filter, there was the design and Japanese art of wabi-sabi. And wabi-sabi is a Japanese aesthetic and philosophical tradition that centers around the appreciation of the beauty of natural imperfection. The economic, environmental, and social crises of the late 2000s ushered in a new era of consumption. The guiding principles are to purchase only what you need, seek quality, prefer durability, and curb the frenzy. In many ways, it becomes like a spiritual quest to remove a source of anxiety and show that we're more than the sum of our possessions and replace things with more fulfilling activities. Continuing with less is more and minimalism, beautiful utility and pared back, versatile design has its roots in Legum, the Swedish concept of living a balanced life with not too little, not too much of anything. Marie Kondo's organization method, dubbed the Kondo effect, has one simple principle: hold on to the things in your life that spark joy. Kondo instructs her followers to make swift, instinctive decisions when tidying. If your body does not have a physical, joyous reaction to the item in question, it's to be thrown away or donated. It was published in 2010, but the Marie Kondo effect is still being felt, and the emphasis is on designs that last and give us what we need without excessive detail. So, anti-everythingism. So, according to Margaret Everton, who was published in a June 2015 issue of Kinfolk magazine, she says, essentialism isn't about asking how little we can live with, but determining what we simply can't live without. This subtle distinction changes everything. It seems to allow us to stop defining essential as being basic or standard and to redefine its meanings in terms of the impact on our senses and passions. The idea is not to approach a basic minimum, but to seek what is closest to us personally and fills us with joy. And as we enter the latter part of the 2010s, we're seeking a desire to normalize appearances, which marks a course correction from the flamboyance and arrogance of the previous decade. The term normcore was born out of a desire to go against the winds of fashion and mainstream consumption and show what is real. Now, how many of you have seen the word hygge lately? Okay. So if you've ever enjoyed reading a book indoors on a rainy Sunday or a cup of hot cocoa on a snow day, you've experienced hygge without even knowing it. It is pronounced hygge, well, you see it there. The Danish concept cannot be translated into one single word, but it actually encompasses a feeling of cozy contentment and well-being through enjoying the simple things in life. The national obsession with all things cozy is credited as one of the reasons why Denmark is always at the top of the list of the world's happiest countries, despite their infamously miserable winters. So now we'll move into the section of the presentation called the Surface, Texture, and Material Report. These are the key finishes that are emerging at industry shows and in new product design. So beautiful imperfections. Designs will celebrate the flaws of products that are carefully crafted and well worn following the wabi-sabi principle. Uneven surfaces and patched details highlight the sense of care and craft. Warm metallics remain prominent across interiors in 2018. Brass is confirmed as a key material to bring shine into home. Nordic wood. Wood will always be an important material for interiors to add warmth, character, and craftsmanship across products and surfaces. We look at smooth brush surfaces remaining important to offer a sense of tactile softness to hard materials. The metals are mixed and glass is frosted and milky, adding to the delicate, ghostly effect. From Maison to Milan, marbled and pigmented movements will remain strong across 2017 and 2018 and emerge on a variety of surfaces. Floors and walls are following in the steps of smaller items, offering designs that clad the space in swirls. Agate is used heavily as a design detail in items ranging from lighting to tabletops, with marble and both rough-hewn and polished semi-precious stones inset into metallic surrounds. Super plush. Extreme comfort and softness is a key design direction in 2018. Finally, focus on plush tactility even in unexpected applications like lamp shades and furry curtains. That's right. Soft sections. A growing demand for quiet, intimate spaces for collecting thoughts or reading spurs fresh research into the materials and aesthetics that absorb sound, please the eye, and ensure privacy. And now, be inspired. And so here's a final look at the palette for Sincerity. So Connectivity is the name of our second collection. Today, we're all so connected. We're each moving to the beat of our own algorithm. From choosing a dry cleaner to choosing a college, data powers nearly every decision we make. In Silicon Valley, Austin, Berlin, and Beijing, techies are the new hippies, and they're full of breakthrough ideas and utopian ideals. A generation is waving a flag of color freedom and Instagramming every moment. This high-tech palette is pixelated in orange, violets, digital greens, and high-def yellows. So let's take a look at the influencers and drivers for Connectivity. Valencia-based duo Daniel Rueda and Ana Devis love to travel the world in search of interesting perspective and geometry related to architecture. On their Instagram, they have been crafting photographs that use both each other and architecture as characters. Playing with perspective and geometry, each photo the pair publish on their respective accounts attract the viewer and is packed with humor and accompanying story. Now, TOG, also known as All Creators Together, is a new furniture brand introducing personalization to the entire process of furniture design and manufacture. The brand is built as a collaboration between the designer and the consumer, with its website acting as open source design community, allowing consumers to customize their own furniture through pattern, color, and form, and share with the wider world. A new generation of consumer designers is arriving, marked by their green, urban, and edgy mindset, their aesthetic sensitivity, and their familiarity with the new digital uses. Unusual concepts of fun food and sweets appear on the table at Instagrammable parties, adult pool parties where guests gather around a built-in pool on a roof deck to introduce themselves. In the same vein as hashtag vegan or hashtag no glue, the mood food trend is booming, especially with fans of detox juicing, beauty food, and performance-enhancing edibles that are good for the soul as well as the body. And a kind of colorful, pop-oriented rigor remains supreme with a cheerful Kish twist. Happy corners are popping up in concept stores, offering things like customization accessories, fun crockery, sparkles, extra-large inflatable balloons, and cute gift wrap. The styling is free and colorful with retro pop, modern and upbeat accents. Their homes look like art galleries with gleeful sculptural works in the Jeff Koons style, connected decorative objects, and large, majestic plants bathed in natural light. In this crusade, it is not surprising that the most radical are those most connected to the technologies and social changes that they're bringing about. In San Francisco, Silicon Valley, as well as a number of other hubs across the globe, these new hippies see themselves as working to make the world a better place. They adopt the maker's approach and have contributed genuinely to concrete solutions rather than remaining the observer. They put together alternatives, create new business models, and establish new social relationships, and are not worried about the rules they should be following. They're on board with hacking and push the boundaries of bioethics. Like their hippie forefathers, they may still view the world through utopian glasses, but they are persuaded that technology will help change for the better. If you need a last-minute babysitter, there's an app for that. If you fancy quinoa bowl at 3 a.m., it'll be delivered in less than an hour. If you're not sure if it's jet lag or the flu, the doctor will see you at the tap of your phone. Digital connectivity is transforming traditional 9-to-5 lifestyles, enabling new live, work, and play schedules, and creating new markets for on-demand services that continue to grow into 2018. This on-demand economy is providing cost-effective alternatives for people with monetary restrictions. In many cities, it's now less expensive for people to order Ubers than own a car. And a growing number of food delivery services, including Postmates, offer flash sales with healthy menu options starting at $5 for cities with high parking fees. Curbside also delivers products within an hour. And products either take on one key element of wellness, either sun exposure or temperature, or aim to provide a perceptive all-around view of emotion and behavior. A new wristband called Feel promises that it can hack happiness. By tracking your skin temperature, galvanic skin response, and blood volume pulse, the band analyzes your stress levels and can offer up calming activities by the app. It's described as a wellness computer, and the Aura Smart Ring tracks your sleep quality and levels of activity, suggesting small, continuous improvements that will add up to a more balanced lifestyle. Caden's Sona bracelet sets out to increase focus and manage stress, tracking heart rate and its own resonance metric, which provides meditation exercises. And L'Oreal's stretchable stick-on UV monitor uses photosensitive dye that changes color as your skin is exposed to the sun, providing a visual cue. It's made by MC10 and PCH, and the sticker is thinner than a strand of hair, and points to a future where mood, health, and wearables go hand in hand. And then we ask, can technology make us better thinkers? A new wave of digital intellectuals think so. The focus is growing on how social media, cutting-edge tech, and modern wellness can be harnessed to expand minds, sharpen thoughts, and forge new creative outlooks for pondering. The brain fitness market is expected to grow $6 billion by 2020. Now, faster than the current coursing through your cerebellum, the field is burgeoning into what will be called brain training 2.0. The new generation consists of devices that promise to monitor or stimulate your brain to help you be more calm or focused and even smarter. They're priced from $79 to $595, like these wearable gadgets. And they come with names like Melon, Emotive, Insight, Melamind, iFocus Band, and Narbis. And they aim to gauge your cerebral activity using electroencephalography and then redirect your focus. So, as our global population continues to increase and urbanize, the design world is turning its attention to the challenges of high-density living. Design is harnessed to make creative use of space, either smarter design or combining functionalities. So the unfolding potential of nanoparticles and a trend for miniaturization can be seen across compact architecture, clever product design, and smart materials, each with the power to enhance daily life. And these current efforts in sustainability can be usually divided into one of two groups. The first group is trying to add efficiency and/or decrease the negative impact of the way we do things now. The second group is changing a paradigm in order to operate in a more sustainable way and challenging the baseline to redefine the standard rather than tweaking an existing solution. 300 Lafayette Street is a fragment of underdeveloped space left over from the confluence of Lafayette and Houston Streets and the construction of the subways below. Historically, it was home to a gas station and billboards. This prominent intersection is the result of past planning decisions that transformed Houston Street into one of Manhattan's major crosstown traffic arteries. By showcasing environmental stewardship, the new office building will make a statement that merges ethics and aesthetics with a coherent vision while reconnecting the neighborhood and its residents with ecological systems and a new standard for sustainable workplace design. Gen Z is the first generation to completely grow up in the digital age. So to them, there is no question that can't be unanswered. They want to know where their food is from, how it's grown, and who made it. This behavior will be integrated into their everyday lives as they continue to grow up. Gen Z will be known as mindful eaters. While they're increasingly conscious of what they put into their bodies and how it makes them feel, the young consumers also deeply care about how their habits affect the environment. Born between the mid-1990s and mid-2010s, Gen Z is shaping up to be the most open-minded, self-aware, and health-conscious generations yet, and they love to talk about it on their social channels. Now, healthy eating is also now an emotional, aesthetic-led phenomenon that is part of the experience economy. Interactivity is a key trait for younger consumers. Mindset first is the growing approach to eating healthily in terms of design of food and the items associated with it. Consumers will strive to buy sustainable and adaptive products that use the resources of the planet more wisely, with ecological storytelling now an imperative. A heightened interest in vegetable and vegan materials is becoming apparent as the textiles industry begins to seek out and explore eco and animal-friendly alternatives. Statistics indicate that from all fruit that is produced for consumption, 45% of it is thrown away. So with little to no end uses for citrus juice byproducts within the food industry, a company called Orange Fibers Innovations make valuable and sustainable use of waste. There are several companies here. Pinatex reconstitutes pineapple leaf fibers into a leather alternative, and an Italian company, Vigea, developed a vegetal and eco-sustainable alternative called wine leather, which converts byproducts from the wine industry into raw materials that eliminates the need for them to be burnt or wasted. Now, these are the key finishes, textures, and materials for connectivity. We look at geometric play. Decorative accessories, furniture, and textiles are entirely covered with highly graphic, colorful prints and patterns. They combine flat colors, geometric shapes, and contrasting repeats. Mirrored metallics, from lighting to decor, silvered, chromed, and reflective finishes give products a sleek and futuristic look, especially when worked in soft and organic forms. The colors go vibrant and bold, setting each other off in fresh coordinate sets and compositions across table mirrors, wall decor, and tabletop. Lacquer. Colors are intense and elegant, perfect for statement pieces such as a liquor cabinet or a side table. Jonathan Adler applies this technique to saturated hand-stained goatskin for a Baroque yet contemporary accent table. Retro Memphis. The original Memphis movement was fascinated with ideas about what constitutes art and what constitutes furniture. For a crop of new designers that look to the 80s for inspiration, form does not necessarily follow function. It is attention-seeking, and new and innovative techniques fuse handmade and digital processes. A playful approach to color is the hallmark of today's Memphis and new wave interpretations. These are bold, eye-catching palettes that create complementary colors, while ice cream-inspired shades achieve a softer look and make you hungry. Geometric designs play on the ability of tiles to be placed seemingly at random, creating mesmerizing shifts of direction from floor to ceiling. Fine and delicate lines take over textiles, ceramics, and kitchenware, offering a fresh aesthetic. Ticking stripes are elegant and classic, while patchworked compositions of various sizes create a new take on tradition on textiles to cutting boards. Volumes placed in alternate directions with overlapping transparencies and playing with color and texture create feature pieces set to make a statement. Rugs, walls, and home linens act as canvases for macro pattern compositions that are unafraid of asymmetry. Rectangles, rhomboids, triangles, and circles combine in off-kilter compositions reminiscent of Baja-era textiles and are rendered in combinations of bright and muted shades together with graphic monochrome textures. Triangles are adding playful geometric pattern to home textiles and accessories. Whether scattered or carefully arranged in precise lines, plays of scales, and fractal patterns, they create movement and add a layer of fine detail to home interiors. Cement tile. Pigment is mixed or pressed into the cement so that it wears well. Gridded structures remain important across interiors and are rendered into even more precise lines, not only as graphics, but also tactile elements. Meticulous grids offer calming precision. And now, be inspired. Okay, so here's the last look at the palette for connectivity. Our third and final palette is called Unity. Nationalism and globalism are in flux, challenging terrestrial boundaries. We're remapping our sense of community. Optimism persists in the form of boundary-breaking skyscrapers and commercial space travel. Even landlocked cities are becoming global hubs of craft and gastronomy. We crave security and adventure in equal measure. Airbnb, car sharing, and e-learning have created a culture of everyday nomadism. The bright folklore of this story is told in memorable pops of peacock color. All right, so let's talk about the influences and drivers for unity. In a world full of distraction and excess, where performance is confused with reality, ethnicities and new cultures begin to influence daily life. The mix of trends and styles are increasingly present in persona that has a worldly flavor. Flexible and extremely mobile, these new nomads from Gen Y with Gen Z hard on their heels are citizens of the world. Having studied abroad in several countries, they already have several life-work experiences under their belt and are reinventing work, travel, and roaming. These nomads develop a temporary emotional bond with their city of residence rather than relate to their country of residence or native country. As seen at Architect Digest show in March, Chad is an artist and designer born and raised in the Pacific Northwest. He now lives and works in Detroit. With a love of craft traditions and attention to detail and deep curiosity about mysticism and the psychedelic, the works in Chad's collections provide beauty for the grown-up hippie who still burns sage while enjoying life's finer things. Technology and onboard electronics have helped people on a quest to find adventure or flee constraints. New modes of transportation are more flexible and better suited to the new generation's lifestyle, formerly experimental and now part of everyday life. They're changing how people relate to work, travel, and being uprooted. Today, for instance, Paris is a getaway not only to France, but all of Europe. A 40-minute flight will take you to Marseille or Berlin. Anyone can adopt this multicultural approach and live several lives, search, experiment, and find out who they are. Notably, in Sweden, citizens aren't only encouraged to explore the outdoors, they are guaranteed the right to. The government wants people to feel so at home when they're in Sweden, the entire country was listed on Airbnb. There are a growing number of apps and services trying to minimize the lack of urban mobility in big cities. Brands and companies that help people find new ways, fast, affordable, pleasant, and even sustainable ways to get around will gain market share. Waze and Zazcar 2018 will be the first self-driven cars on the market. The app will link customers with a driverless vehicle like Uber, and it will reach you wherever you are and take you to your destination. You will not have to park. You will only have to pay for the distance traveled. New York's Governor Cuomo continues his push to improve and modernize transit across the state. The first application for the autonomous vehicle on New York public roads has been approved. Audi of America was given the green light and will begin demonstrations this year. The test will be the first ever made in New York history and will be conducted on roads near Albany. Driverless vehicles are anticipated to account for a quarter of all miles driven in the US by 2030. Traditional borders are being extended horizontally and vertically. Skyscrapers reach to the heavens in new cities, making room for all the activities that a city has trouble accommodating, especially agricultural needs. Japanese architecture firm Kengo Kuma and Associates is bringing the world's largest startup incubator to the busy streets of Paris. The project will create a botanic effect by only using triangular wooden blocks, plenty of green, and different types of plant species for Paris's new 4-star eco-luxury hotel. Now, with global levels of education on the rise, many believe that a thought revolution is imminent in developing nations. More so, global access is changing the concepts of nationalism in developing countries. According to a BBC poll, emerging economies saw themselves first and foremost as global citizens. A new generation of creatives and designers are designing and styling world-class furniture, lighting, and lifestyle projects, paving the way to a future of a made in Africa aesthetic. Traditions are transformed by embracing contemporary design, not by way of rejecting familiar methods, but expanding them to create an aesthetic that affirms their luxury appeal. Now, the connection between what's happening around the world and what we do in our daily work may feel tenuous, but global issues affect us nonetheless. The impact of any one global event may not be felt, but the issues are powerful enough to create a ripple effect that usually rocks the design community. An example of this is Christian Meindertsma, a designer known for creating detailed taxonomies of supply chains. She points to the problem of textile recycling and the inaccurate and misleading ways fabric content in simple pullovers is labeled, making it virtually impossible for them to be properly recycled. She worked with cutting-edge machinery to gather and analyze 1,000 sweaters and sort their fabrics into constituent colors and materials. Large, colorful piles of sorted material were assembled on a massive platform, while hundreds of swatches on the wall reveal inaccurate labeling. The installation serves as a critique of current industrial practices, but also demonstrates the power of new sorting machinery to recycle fabrics in the future. Gensler has completed the Etsy global headquarters located in Brooklyn. The expansive 200,000 square foot space offers the employees of the online marketplace a varied and diverse work environment, pronounced in color, greenery, and eclectic decoration. They captured the Etsy philosophy of sustainability in craft and portrayed it as a narrative journey with a focus on embracing nature, capitalizing on eco-friendly, authentic, and locally sourced materials. The reimagined headquarters is decorated with handmade and micro-manufactured furniture made by local artists and Etsy sellers. And each level has been imagined as a balanced ecosystem, and almost all levels feature a kitchen where the workers are encouraged to recycle. There are also spaces for individual work, group presentations, and meetings, and the top level has been left as a roof terrace and is installed with solar panels. Now, one way residential designers build community is by identifying local craftsmen, artisans, and artists who can create unique custom furniture and other installations that reflect the local culture. Sourcing their work boosts the local economy and provides a sense of place that national and international retailers just can't match. Historically, interior designers were important brokers between local artisans, craftspeople, and potential buyers. It's been the role of interior designers to know what's locally available and maintain relationships with the craft and trade communities. Lula Mena has developed an entire project for one of the largest energy companies of El Salvador, Delcer. They uninstalled more than 60,000 energy meters to replace them for digital ones, which generated a large amount of waste. Copper Collection uses that copper thread inside of the energy meters to weave on a traditional loom, and they teach women how to weave, a skill traditionally taught to men. This collection helps to empower women and at the same time solve the problem of an energy byproduct. Now, for design professionals, understanding generational characteristics is embedded in the design process from the very beginning. The Scooter for Life was commissioned for the New Old exhibition at London's Design Museum, which explores how designers can enhance people's day-to-day experiences in later life. Priestman Good saw the project as an opportunity to develop a product that not only supports older people as their mobility decreases, but also encourages them to stay physically active longer. Now, these are the key finishes, textures, and materials for Unity. We see tassels and knots. Hypertextural designs and transcultural references drive an extreme take on this textile direction. Colors remain muted, toning down the hyper effect. Rugs move to the walls and blur the boundaries with tapestries, featuring a large presence of loose yarn details and giving way to intriguing textural plays. Macrame and knotted or woven designs also apply to furniture, with edges left untrimmed as if to celebrate the making process. Fringing, tufting, and fraying and hyper-tactile surface interventions bring them to life. Chunky weaves. In line with the overarching move towards more artisanal crafted designs, fabrics explore coarse and textural looks. Yarn is rustic and unevenly dyed, worked in loose, thick weaves that celebrate the making process. Wood grain and cerusing, black and white themes are spotted all over the market, from optic stripe patterns to tribal-inspired prints. Black woods are finished with cerusing for a more organic take on the trend. Tables, bar cabinets, and lighting explore natural beauty and imperfections of wood, putting the grain on display. This continues with a rustic touch with flooring design, which celebrates the natural grooves and indentations of wood, tapping into the wider trend for natural, unfinished, and crafted textures within the home. Deep grains, pockmarks, fine lines, and deeper welts provide tactility underfoot, and varnishes are kept to a minimum so the natural textures of the material can surface. Craft techniques from faraway places celebrate craftsmanship, slow living, and global travel. Basketry adds pattern and tactile surface, while wicker frames and macrame knots hint to a retro 70s look for walls. Oxidized, burnished, and weathered effects are going even more extreme, driving designs in this season. Metal and glass look aged, burnt, rusted, and clad in moss. Folk patterns, from decorative cushions to wall tapestries, indoor textiles, they feature bold and colorful folk designs. The brands employ Indian and Moroccan-inspired block printing and recreate hand-embroidered and quilted motifs reminiscent of crafts around the globe. And now, be inspired. So here's a last look at the palette for Unity. So we enjoyed sharing our ideas on color connections with you. I hope you're as inspired as we are. I want to thank you for attending Colormix, but I have a couple of people to thank and then some requests. So first of all, I want to thank my partner in crime, Mark Weiner. He and I have put this on. This is our 9th time putting this on together. So please join me in thanking him. I want to thank ABX and Greenbuild for graciously hosting us here for the last 5 years. They have been absolutely incredible, and we thank the whole team. They're behind the curtains too, so please thank them. And then to thank Shelby Snelson, Brian Keefe, and Billy Craig from ABX. So 2 things before you go. One, I invite you all to take part in some of the trends themselves today. We have 2 boards in the back where you can pick whatever color or color palette you were inspired by today. Share it up on the board, write your Instagram handle, which is your @ and then your name for Instagram. And there are magnets, there are push pins, and please share with us what you were inspired by and take a look at what your peers say too. We definitely want this to be a conversation. And then lastly, if you didn't get a chance to enter in the raffle for the door prize, which you might now see the parallels, there's a book on legume, a book on hygge, a journal, some really cozy socks, makeup, and there's a couple of other treats in there. So if you share your builder or painter's information, you'll have a ticket for that. And in just a few minutes, we'll pull the raffle prize for that. But again, thank you so much for coming. I'll be here, and so will Mark if you have any questions. And I hope you enjoyed it.